Pleased to be joined by Bruins defenseman Andrew Peeke. Thanks for coming on the Hockey Hub, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited.
Yeah, you're making history. You and Morgan Geekie, the first players to appear on the Hub, and I know that means a lot to you. And if you want to take a moment to say a few things, I understand.
It's a special day. I've heard a lot about this, so I'm excited to join.
Awesome. Hey, so I guess we'll just start off by talking about how your first full season with the Bruins is going. I know you were traded here last year, probably a bit of a whirlwind, but to be settled in, starting with training camp, and to sort of start from day one, how does that feel?
Yeah, it's like you said, it's a whirlwind when you come in at the trade deadline. A lot of joy, a lot of excitement. You know what you're joining. When you're coming to obviously the Bruins and joining the playoff push and everything like that. But coming here now, coming into the season, getting through training camp, you go through that grind with the guys, and you get to experience, finishing up camp and starting the season, and everyone's together, everyone's learning the systems together. So it's nice to get that rhythm and flow going.
In terms of your off season, I know you're far removed from the off season, but now that we're more than a quarter way through the regular season, what sort of things did you work on, and have you seen signs of improvement in whatever areas those might be?
Yeah, I think every summer I continue to always work on my skating. The game gets faster every year, and especially being a defenseman and having to defend some of these forwards. Skating's always an area I try to improve on each summer, and then little things whether that's at the offensive blue line or little puck plays behind the net in our own zone, ways to touch and handle the puck, little things like that you try and just get repetitions of coming in camp, so that you feel confident and comfortable doing it in a game.
I know a lot of changes, obviously, last year when you came to Boston, and more changes during your time in Boston. Now Jim Montgomery no longer the head coach, obviously in St. Louis. What was that like from your perspective, that whole thing?
Yeah, like a lot of things, it happens quick. You have to turn that page quickly. Now that we're at the point now, and Joe's behind the bench, we have to adapt and shift to how he is as a coach. And Monty was a great coach, great person, gave me a great opportunity the moment I got traded here. So I'm thankful for the opportunity he gave me, and he was a really good person. So but like I said, when stuff like that happens, you obviously you got to wear it, and us players feel responsible for those actions and things that have happened. But you got to turn that page, you got to move on, you got to reset. And I like where we're at right now with the last two games and how we played.
You talk about turning the page and resetting. It seems like, there was some reset in terms of the defensive structure too. A lot tighter defensively. Was that sort of a good sort of jumping off point for you guys to say, hey, you know what, we got to get back to basics in a lot of ways? Yeah,
I think just simplifying, what we wanted, to come out of each game looking like, and how we're going to find success, for the now. And then there's, areas obviously you're going to improve on throughout the season, throughout the year. And right now it's, being tight defensively, and offense comes from that, turnovers come from that. And I think the way we're playing, a 1-0, a 2-1 game, little things like that, builds confidence defensively, and then, the offense always comes. When you play good defensively, offense always comes. And I think that, focusing on what we're, trying to accomplish right now is really important for us.
And being paired with Nikita Zadorov, you talk about changes, obviously a big change, so to speak. What's it been like being paired with him?
Yeah, it's good. He's a very good skater for his size. He can move that puck up ice, and he just has a presence out there. It's calming as a partner. Knowing that he's gonna battle in the corners and has that presence, and guys don't really want to go and try and get that puck from him, because they know that outcome. For me, it's being consistent and being reliable for him. He's gonna jump up the ice. He's gonna do some things that Z can do, but for me, I think he knows where I'm going to be on the ice. He can trust me defensively, and I think we work well as a partner together.
You got to face your former team that drafted you back in 2016, 8 years ago. Obviously the result wasn't what you wanted, but what was that like for you to face the Blue Jackets? And I know you got them again at the end of December. You actually go to Columbus, home and home actually. But first, just get back to that first meeting against your old team. What was that like?
Yeah, it's pretty unique. You're friends with all those guys. Really close buddies with some of them. So yeah, it's a little unique. Going up against them and knowing some of the memories that you share with them. Your first couple years pro and everything like that. And no, it was fun. Obviously, I wish the game turned out a little differently. We'll have to get them back, but no, it was cool playing against them. Seeing seeing those guys and being able to talk with them afterwards, a lot of good memories there, and it was cool to be able to do that for the first time.
You still keep in touch with a lot of those guys?
Yeah. Keep in touch with them.
Yeah.
See a couple of them throughout the summer. There's been a lot of turnover too there, so a couple guys are elsewhere that I get to see on different teams now. So it's always special. It's the first place you grew up and played with, so they're always gonna have a special place for you.
Now, I know we got to go back in the Wayback Machine a little bit. You played at Notre Dame, and for a year, I believe, when you were at Notre Dame, you were in Hockey East.
Yes, freshman year.
So, and you made it to the semifinals. TD Garden, right? So is that your first time playing? Do you remember that game? Do you remember that experience being here in Boston for the first time? Maybe that wasn't the first time, but
it was. It was the first time I played at the Garden.
Okay.
We had played, BU and a couple of the schools in Hockey East, so been to the area. But we lost 5-0 to Lowell there.
Yeah.
So maybe not the best first impression.
Norm Basin's got a solid squad year in and year out.
The Garden's. It's awesome, and that fan base, and obviously what we have on a nightly basis here. It's, growing up, everyone knows the Boston Bruins, and it's a place you always want to play. So being in this position now, super fortunate, and it's an honor to wear that B every night.
And you played with Anders Bjork, correct? Is that right? Yeah. So obviously played for the Bruins as well. So the little connection there. The thing that stood out about Notre Dame when they came to the Garden, because first off, having Notre Dame in Hockey East was kind of weird. I know they went to the Big Ten after that. They were independent, but having you guys in Hockey East was sort of weird. But how good of an experience was that to play? BU and BC, and you mentioned UMass Lowell has a good program. A lot of great hockey programs in that division.
Yeah, it was awesome. At the time, I knew we were going to be in Big Ten that next year.
Yep.
So it was kind of, our last hurrah, I guess, for a little bit.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's, you have the BCs, the BUs, those are powerhouses, and you get up for those games. And I think everyone, Notre Dame is a pretty big school itself, and so we were in a lot of competitive games, and it was pretty cool to play some of these teams that you were visiting or looking at the time, and it's kind of random having Notre Dame and Hockey East, but it was kind of the last hurrah to give it a good go.
Now you were recruited by Notre Dame, I take it, and
yes.
So how what led? I'm sure you were recruited by other schools as well. What led to the decision to go to Notre Dame?
So I always wanted to go to a good academic school as well. My parents were always, I want to say tough, but they were.
Strict.
Strict on me being, a good student and, having hockey and school be one and the same. So Notre Dame kind of had the best of both worlds. And, being from Florida, it's not that I could just drive to a campus here or whatever the case. So I did a little college tour trip right before my junior year, came to the Northeast and, went out west for a little bit. And Notre Dame was the last school I visited. And I knew right when I stepped on campus that if they were going to offer me a scholarship, to play hockey there, that it was a done deal.
Awesome.
And, I knew right away walking out of there that once that was settled, told my parents that I'm going here. So.
And you go to football games, I take it?
Yeah.
How cool is that? Experience?
Those Saturdays are pretty special. Those tailgates and going to the games, and it's just a whole different atmosphere. And it's, you have hockey, but sometimes there's just enjoying the college life.
Yeah.
And that was, some of those days were memories forever.
Have you had a chance? I know obviously with your schedule it's kind of tough, but have you had a chance to go back to campus at all? Or
yeah, I usually go back. So right before training camp, they do a pro week there, and there's a good amount of us that play professionally, all over the world, I guess still.
Yeah.
For here and the AHL, whatever the case may be. So all of us usually go back for a week right before camp. This year I didn't just because moving, new city and everything, but the last 4 or 5 years I'd gone back every week.
Awesome. I know growing up, even going back way further, you had talked about your favorite player growing up. You were a Panthers fan, obviously. It's well documented, being from Parkland, Florida. But your favorite player was Joe Volkov, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
He just had a way about him, on the ice. You always spotted him, whether he was hitting someone or scoring a goal, or he kind of could do everything. And
now it must have been when he came back, right, to Florida, because
yes,
yeah,
the timeline
it was 2011 he came back, I think, early 2010. Because when he was drafted, it was before you were born. I think,
when I was really young, Pavel Bure, he was phenom down there. And I would always have a Bure jersey.
Yeah.
But as I kind of started, understanding the game a little bit more, and that I knew I was a defenseman. He was someone that I just enjoyed watching.
Yeah, number 1 overall pick, I think Jovanovski was back in '94, I think. If my memory serves. I don't have my phone with me, so I'm not looking it up. So that's pretty cool. But in terms of your hockey career now, where you're at, what sort of goal do you set goals for yourself, like moving forward, or is it just sort of like you take it's day by day, building, right? As they say in hockey, you build your game.
Yeah, I mean, there's goals, that you have. A lot of it for me is just the consistency, like you said, day in and day out. I think for me and my game, the way I play, being consistent, being reliable, being someone that the coaches, my teammates can trust, that makes me effective on a night in, night out basis. I'm not one to score 30 goals or have 50 points or whatever, but there's other things, block shots, hits, little things like that I take pride in. I think that for me and my game is a pretty important part for me.
I know when you got to Boston, you talked a lot about the traffic being like, what is this, right? But in terms of settling in Boston, I mean, what have you learned about the city, during your time here outside of the rink?
I love it. There's so many things to do. There's so many parts of town. The North End. You have Seaport, Southie, whatever. Different restaurants, different vibes in each little section. So it's been awesome, being able to come here and experience all those. And there's so many restaurants, and places, and things that I haven't even done yet. So that's pretty cool for me to still tack along.
I know we're in the holiday season, right? But I got to go back to, this was your first Halloween with the Bruins, and
yep.
I saw your costume.
Yeah.
Was that you and your girlfriend?
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome idea, right?
Yeah.
But my favorite part is her costume. So this Happy Gilmore and the caddy, right? For those who didn't see it. No shoe.
Yeah, she didn't have.
That was nice, man. Was that her idea? Is that all her?
Yeah.
Did you guys collaborate?
She came up with the costume idea.
Yeah.
And we threw out a couple others, but I thought that was the first one she came up with, and I'm like, let's just do it. Let's keep it simple. Let's do it. And then we were taking pictures, and we were looking at the pictures of us two, and I'm like, you got to take that boot off. Like, you got to get the sock off. You got to do it real.
That's awesome.
So then she kept it like that throughout the day and then the night. So it was, she wore it like a champ.
Oh, man, I remember that scene, too. It's like slightly to the left.
So,
that's because you're not wearing a shoe.
Yeah. So funny.
Are you looking forward to the sequel? Like, sequel's coming out, like, at some point? Did you know that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the original's so good.
It is, I know.
It won't ever be topped, but it's exciting knowing that there's going to be another Happy Gilmore.
I know, I can't wait. Like, I can't wait for Shooter. Like, unfortunately, Chubbs Peterson, R.I.P., Carl Weathers. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Finally, I'll just ask you, the holidays, you guys have a little time off during Christmas. What will you do?
Not sure yet.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But no, I've gone to Florida most of the time. One year I actually had COVID in Columbus.
Oh, really?
Stuck there. But no, I usually go to Florida and be with my family. Maybe visit my girlfriend Ryan's family in Long Island. So just check the schedule, check flights, see what's out there, and I got two good options. So
how important is that break for you? Like, just to kind of like decompress for a little bit.
Yeah, it's I know it's quick. It's nice, and sometimes it's not, right? Like sometimes you're in a groove, sometimes you're playing.
True.
But it is nice, to kind of sit back, and hockey's on your mind 24/7.
Yeah.
If anyone says otherwise, I think they might be lying.
Yeah, you can't turn it off.
It's every day. So it's what we do. It's our job. We love it. But sometimes it is nice to just kick back. See family, see friends, talk about other things, and just enjoy the holidays. So
awesome. Well, appreciate you coming on the Hockey Hub and spending some time with us talking hockey and outside the rink too. Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, bro.
First guest, eh?
Yeah, that's right, man.
Yeah,
love it.
Time, hey? Thank you.